In this example of a state table, we are using the same scenario we previously used for a state diagram. We are showing the configuration vehicle object of a system and all of its possible state transitions. Both the state diagram and table are shown here for comparison. The possible valid configuration object states include new, valid, invalid, changed, or final. So we put those states across the top and down the left of our grid. In each box, we ask, is it valid to transition from the row title to the column title? If so, as in this example, we would put an X in the box that marked that transition so that we can later detail the requirements about that transition outside of the table. For example here, a vehicle configuration can go from state new to valid, invalid, or changed, but not from new to final. State tables are very useful to know that you considered all of the possible state transitions, so that you know you have a complete picture of possible transitions. If I have a lot of states and I need to categorize or subcategorize them, I'd also use a state table to capture these. The downside to state tables is that in them, it is hard to see the flow of the transitions. Some people need both views, one for completeness and one for a more visual picture of the possible transitions. So in those cases, go ahead and make both a state table for completeness and a state diagram for the visual flow. State tables and state diagrams are two models that show very similar information. In the upper left here I have a state diagram and the bottom right is a state table for the exact same scenario. The question we are often asked is, when do I use one versus the other? Well, a state table is for when I want to make sure I'm able to ask about every state. It forces me into a very rigorous format where it's impossible not to consider every possible transition. So they are great for completeness. A state diagram is for when I'm planning to leave out non-transitions from my model and focus on the actual transitions that I want to be able to visualize. Transition diagrams are better for seeing a flow through the transitions. In reality, you can justify creating both. Start with a state table to identify all your transitions, and then create a state diagram to show the visual flow.